But let's start out, because it is the new year, and we hope everyone around the world has had a good new year. We're going to give out some resolutions to drivers, teams, some other individuals you'll soon see. We've each picked a few names, and we'll say, what do they need to focus on for 2023? So, Sam, we'll start with you, and we'll start with the 7-time champion of the world, Lewis Hamilton. What should be his New Year's resolution for 2024?
There's a lot that I think Lewis Hamilton could take on board, actually. You know, he had a better year last year than he did the year before. No race wins in the bank, though, for 2 years in a row. But I think the one thing that he needs to really harness is he needs to become at one with the tyres on his car.
Never going to happen, mate.
It's not, is it? But it's a New Year's resolution, Lewis, and they are made to be broken. But if you could just not moan at your tyres for a bit, I think you might get quite far. No, I think it's going to maintain the same level of performance that he did last year and try and push on for another year. I think if he could beat George Russell by that same level, if the car is better than it was last year, a race win might be on the cards. So for Lewis Hamilton, your New Year's resolution is just keep being as good as you were.
Good.
It's hard when you're that good, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's a fair point.
Is it then just a case of hoping Mercedes are better then?
Yeah, also don't crash into your teammate.
Yes. Stop forgetting
Fair.
where cars are on the circuit.
Lewis Hamilton, get an eye test for your New Year's resolution.
Treat Oscar Piastri better
Yeah, man.
when it comes to the Italian Grand Prix.
Yeah, leave him alone.
We go again.
Harry, Charles Leclerc. It's a new year. We go again. Ferrari. I'm sure this is going to be the year. This is going to be the year when the Ferrari turn this all around and they win their first championship for what is now 17 years. What should Charles Leclerc's New Year's resolution be?
Go on. I can't believe you can't remember this, Sam.
What can you?
It's Andiamo di Nuove.
Very well, close. Andiamo di nuovo.
Nuovo. We go again.
We go again.
Charles Leclerc's resolution for this year is not to overdrive.
Okay.
Because I think there was a bit of that in 2023. Not a lot, but a couple of times, more in qualifying, it happened where he crashed trying to go for pole in a car that wasn't necessarily ready to be on pole. And I think it's going to be frustrating for him, as you say. He's had a frustrating few years at Ferrari, and I'm worried that he'll get too frustrated and just overdrive and make things worse for himself. So I wrote, don't overdrive the car. Also wrote down, be better in damp conditions, scrub. Because that's fair, right?
Correct.
He's been terrible. He was
fair.
terrible in damp conditions last year. Full wet, God. Dry, God. Damp,
Man doesn't understand that.
Mortal.
Mere mortal.
mortal Leclerc.
Great, we've got our first nickname in 2024 quite early on. Mortal Leclerc.
Yeah, but no, the serious point to that is, I just think, obviously it depends what the sort of car they have this year, and if Ferrari are good, then this may not even apply. But I think it's just keep calm, Charles. Keep calm, carry on.
Fair enough. I'll pick out Lando Norris to start off, and I've gone with don't adjust your approach, because I know there were a lot of instances in the second half of the season where he was quite frequently the second quickest driver out there, but he also had some errors. I think the Qatar sprint, as well as Piastri did that day, he fully deserved that win. Lando Norris probably should have had that if he hadn't made the mistake himself. Mexico is another one. He had a great fight back through the field that day, but even that, P5 was probably 2 positions, maybe 3 lower than what he should have achieved. So there were errors that crept in towards the end of last season, but I don't think he should adjust his approach, because right now with Verstappen and Red Bull the way that they are, I think it's the only approach you can have in order to try and take race wins away from Verstappen and that team. Now, we don't know exactly where Red Bull and McLaren are going to be when we turn up in Bahrain testing in a couple months' time. So there is that to say. But I think if we are in a similar position to what we ended last year, if Lando Norris keeps up this all-out approach, yes, he's going to make a couple of errors. Yes, he's going to make some mistakes. But I think that's acceptable. And I think I would rather him be that way and threaten a race win here and there, rather than take 5% off his performance and then just settle for a lot of third places. I think I would rather him go for it. So I've gone with don't adjust your approach for Lando Norris.
It's a nice little package, that is. wrapped up delightfully.
Okay. We're talking about Lando Norris.
You could do. That's not for me to say.
He's a nice little package.
Oh, come on. How far in are we now into this? 4 minutes?
8.
8 minutes. You've made an awful joke.
To be
We
fair,
are just coming out of the Christmas season, so you know you can.
Yeah, it's all the
gift
cracking
wrap and
jokes.
presents. It's time of
Be
year.
about the
Yeah.
early year fitness jokes.
Sure.
That's what the mood is, isn't it? Spring cleaning.
It's winter.
Not for some people.
Move on. This is terrible chat.
Thanks, Sam. And we'll go to Sam
There you go.
for Fernando Alonso.
I'm glad you gave me Fernando. I am going to go with continue to never settle. And also keep being a menace. That man, when he's got the bit between his teeth, when he knows there's a chance that it could go his way, he will just keep plugging away. He will just continuously be a pain in everyone's backside to make sure that he gets the absolute top result he can get. Every time that Aston Martin was good last year, he pulled out a phenomenal performance. How many podiums probably should he not have got if it was any other driver? The amount of times he scored points when Stroll was nowhere near. I know there's a golfing talent, but you know he could have easily have settled for something lower down just because he'd gone where the car wasn't there, but he didn't. And he's so good at elevating that car, and I don't want him to lose that yet. So Fernando Alonso, do not settle back. Do not take your foot off the throttle. Keep pushing for the best that you can, because if the car works, that could be it could be the top spot. If the car's there, it could be the top spot for him. I still think if it's the right moment, he has got what it takes to take that top spot. So do not settle. That's what I want for Fernando. Do not settle.
Nice
Is that
chant.
a resolution that's going to be easier to achieve the better the car is? Because if, let's say, Aston Martin start out this year and they are at a similar performance level to where they ended 2023 and they are maybe the 5th fastest team, does that make it more difficult to achieve that because the car isn't there? It's easier to lose motivation.
Oh, it's Fernando Alonso. How many times have we seen Fernando Alonso go, 1 year I'm all excited, or it hasn't gone the way I wanted it to the next year or so, and that motivation and that cohesion within the team has dramatically dropped over the course of 12 to 18 months. You know, Alpine first year, it was all happy. The second year is at Alpine, it was not happy families anymore.
Snappy.
Yeah, snappy. Nice one, Ben. Very good. You're on it this year. And that's what happens with Fernando. We saw it with McLaren. First year back into McLaren. Oh, very excited. Second year, GP2 engine. Hate it. Disgusting. Get out of my life. Vile. That is what Fernando was like. I recall him saying exactly those words. So,
Get out me life.
get out my life. Brum, brum. You know, Fernando Alonso, he needs the support from the team, both mentally but also mechanically. He needs to be able to be sure that the machinery he's got underneath him is able to deliver results. And if the car can deliver results, Fernando Alonso will absolutely be reliable enough to deliver you results. So, yes, of course, it depends on if the machinery is good, but I think that will be the case for a lot of resolutions that we're providing for these drivers.
A difficult one coming Harry Eads' way here because, you know, what resolution can you possibly put out for the back-to-back world champion Max Verstappen? But give it a go, Harry. What should the New Year's resolution be for him?
Don't lose 3 races this year.
Wow.
Win them all.
What if he loses 5 races?
Well, then that's worse.
Oh.
Don't lose 3.
I mean,
win them all. No. As you say, a difficult one for Verstappen to give one to Verstappen because,
Statistically, the best season of all time.
Well, what else? What else can you ask him to do? What I was thinking, and I guess this is in the hope that 2024 is a closer season, please. But if it is for Verstappen, I would. We saw it a couple of times last year, but not many times. But just remain calm. If you're not in the lead, as you have been for the past 18 months. Remain calm and don't become, frustrated. Because I think we've seen that, whereas before, when Verstappen obviously wasn't winning all the time, it was different. But I think we've seen in the last year or so, the rare times when he wasn't in the lead or the car wasn't working, he would get very frustrated. I'm thinking back now all the way to, I think, Spain 2022. Was it 22? Yeah, I think so. Do you remember when he kept pressing DRS? Yeah. He was the most annoyed man in human history.
Fuming.
Absolutely fuming. It's that sort of thing. I think when it starts to not go his way, I think that would my resolution would be just be calm.
Yeah.
in those situations.
I'm glad you got that one, because I would have gone with give everyone else a chance, please. Like,
I don't think that's in his best interest, but fair enough.
Be the entertainer. Take your foot off the throttle for half the race and see what happens.
Just half throttle.
After only 50% allowed for Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
Wins by 12 seconds.
Probably.
Oh, dear.
I think that's an interesting one from you, Harry, on that, because I guess it is a bit of a perspective thing where realistically, I say this now, it can't really get any better for Verstappen, apart from, as you say, win those last couple of races. It can only be the same or worse. And it might be a perspective thing where if it is worse than what it was in 23, even if he has, like, say, a 2022 season versus what he's just had, that is a bit of a downgrade. And I don't know what his mental approach will be to that sort of a car that he has under him. I don't know. I'm going to go for another set of champions. I'm going to go with Alpine.
Cut the champs.
Champions
chumps.
of our hearts.
Chumps, my bad. A 2024 Constructors Champions. I'm going to predict that now. Early bold prediction, Alpine.
Okay, and where's the punchline?
Oh,
there it is. Thank God.
No. My New Year's resolution, other than hire some people and keep them, is rediscover the consistency of 2022. Now, I appreciate getting back to 2022 levels isn't ultimately where they want to go, but it would be a step in the right direction as to what they had in 2023. If you think about it, 22, when they had Alonso and Ocon in their final season as a partnership, they had no podiums that year. Yet in 2023, they had two. Ocon had a podium at Monaco and Gasly had a podium at the Netherlands. And both seasons had exactly the same number of races. In fact, 23 had 3 more sprint races. So if you were to look at those two together, you'd say, well, 23 was the better season, you'd think, just based on that, right? But it was the consistency of 22, which they were just unable to replicate in 23. Because Ocon and Alonso, they scored points a lot of the time. They scored 31 times out of a possible 47 opportunities in 22. Compare that to 23, it was 26 out of 50. So that's percentage-wise 66 down to 52. Not good. Not good. Not the stat, that was great. The stat itself isn't very good.
Felt good to get that one off my chest.
And they retired a lot. They retired a lot last season. There were 10 retirements between the two drivers. Only Williams had more than that. With 11. And you look at the team, so Red Bull had 2, Mercedes had 5, Ferrari had 5, McLaren had 4, Aston Martin had 6. These are the types of teams they want to be competing against, and yet they've got double the amount of retirements that they do. So just a reinstatement of some consistency would be a good start for the team, and then maybe 25 is then the year to push ahead a little bit more. I'm just trying to be realistic, Alpine, I'm sorry.
Just settle expectations now.
I really hope they turn up at Bahrain testing and they're smug again about something.
No, they need to cry, because clearly the opposite is what happens. So they all need to be sobbing, a fire in the garage. I don't know. Ocon is there playing blackjack on the front of the pit wall and not paying attention to anything. It comes out, war mode, race 1, wins.
Oh, God, I forgot about Le War mode.
The war mode.
Le War mode, come on. It's the Nula plan. Right, going back to Sam for a final one from you. Mohamed Ben Sulayem.
Right, Mohamed. Just get the table laid. We're going to put out a nice candlelit dinner, because we need words here, because you are our one true saviour of the chance of bringing in an 11th Formula 1 team.
Sam's going to wine and dine him.
I'm going to wine, dine, and
No.
have a nice time. With Mohamed Ben Sulayem.
Yeah, that's a win.
Thank you, Kevin Malone.
Oh boy.
Nice. Basically, mate, you are the one person, how ridiculously controversial you are and outlandish that you are the one person that is rooting in the public eye for more F1 teams on this grid. So, keep pushing, my son, and get us more teams and more drivers. You need to keep annoying the F1 management system to make sure that we're always involved, we're always in the know. The teams are being shown up that, more teams is a good thing. It allows for more investment. You're the one spokesperson. I never thought you would be, Mohamed. I never thought I'd be the one bigging you up for this, but you have been good at this. So do it. Make it happen. Make our dreams come true.
It's good pep talk.
I'm on his side. I told you, I could come up wherever he wants. We'll have a nice little candlelit dinner. And when he walks out of that room, we'll have 11 teams.
God. I'm worried where these sentences are going.
Yep. As long as MBS is listening and he's doing something about it, that's all that matters, eh?
Love you, MBS.
Similar one for you, Harry, but instead we'll extend it out to the FIA as a whole.
4.
So it's a tough one.
Duffy.
Just one.
The one I'm going to go for is stop giving out 5-second penalties for literally anything.
Nice.
You've covered this before, Ben, but it ranges from murder to accidentally not spilling a drink on someone in the paddock.
I've done that.
5-second penalty.
Yeah.
And this obviously is probably a wider comment on the penalty system itself, but just have a variety of penalties for different crimes.
Everyone likes a variety.
Exactly.
You don't always go and buy a Twix every time, do you? Twix is great, but you don't have it every single time.
My friend Sam's got a great point. Yes, you don't always want Twix.
Sometimes Kinder Bueno. Sometimes a Mars.
Conclusion, you don't always want a Twix. No, but seriously, give out some different penalties this year.
Correct. Because
sometimes a 5-second penalty, i.e. Sergio Perez murdering Alex Albon or Kevin Magnussen, isn't always fair.
Yeah.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Do you remember, speaking of 5-second penalties given to people, and we deserved one at this point, do you remember when we got invited into the Aston Martin hospitality suite and they said, take what you want from the fridge, and we literally took about 18 drinks between the four of us and rang off down the paddock with them?
We?
Yes, we.
Is that
It's
the
a
royal
we?
It's all four of us that are on this call.
I think it was your bag that was full of them.
I may have three of us out of that.
I may have been the mule, but you were definitely the traffickers of the drinks.
To be clear, we weren't drink trafficking.
Oh, that's what I felt like that day.
Good.
Sam the donkey.
Seamless segue. Alex Albon's next.
He carries that team on his shoulders.
Yeah,
perfect.
Sure, that works. My New Year's resolution for Alex Albon: stay on the track, mate. Alex Albon's really good at nearly everything apart from staying on the track.
That's why he's so fast.
It is, yeah. We don't know how much the FIA are going to police track limits again in 2024. Maybe they'll do what they did at Qatar and Austria in 23. Maybe they relax it. I don't know. But if they are in any way strict, Alex Albon, apart from maybe Pierre Gasly, might be the biggest offender in terms of track limits out there. And it hasn't really cost him yet. But if Williams keep going in the direction they want to go in, it might get to the point where those penalties start to rack up and do become problematic for him and the team. So I'm gonna go with Alex Albon and stay on the track.
That's a good set of New Year's resolutions there.
I think they'll all be listened to
and followed through.
Yes.
Bonus one here. What should the late breaking New Year's resolution be?
Well, do you want to give one to Harry particularly?
Why me?
Yeah.
Just, the attendance record probably.
100% this year.
Look at you, already smashing it. I'm proud of you.
You're welcome.
Let's get more than 5 bold predictions right as a person. One person get more than we got. What, 6?
5 in a year?
Yeah, how'd you get 5 last year?
You got 4, didn't you?
Yeah.
What did you get?
Come on, 4, and that was a miracle last year.
Yeah, fair. That was a miracle.
Yeah, okay. Let's make a better podcast.
Great, that's a great idea.
Let's make it realistic. Come on.
Ben, you got
to say before we go to our first break, we only take sort of 2 weeks off, like consistently throughout the whole year. We pre-record a few things, do a few best of episodes between Christmas and New Year, to the point where this is pretty much the only 2 weeks or so that we don't record. So glad we're recording again.
Oh, I missed it. So immediately missed it.
Hope you all enjoyed your festive highs.
Oh, and your festive lowers. I heard Real Long Over It was back.
Oh, well, at some point this year, I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, but it was in our special episode for Christmas.
Oh, yeah, it was. The first one. I listened to it earlier.
Is it good?
terrible.
It's not terrible. It's so good. People love Sebastian. That wasn't even in that bit.
Oh gosh, yeah. It's been a long 2 weeks.
Who's calling who?
Hall of Famer, the banker. He'll be back.
Hall of Famer, yeah, very much so.
Indeed. We'll take our first break of 2024. First sandwiches out for 2024.
What you having?
And after this, we'll be discussing McLaren.
Tell me your feelings.
That's a great new catchphrase.
I didn't mean you two
don't
either.
know.
I meant the listeners. Tell me your feelings. Double finger guns. Tell me your feelings. Hammer mustard.
Give me your feelings now.
Cheese and tomato.
That should be a new feature every time.
Tell me your feelings.
We get a submission.
A sandwich submission. Nothing to do with that one. Sandwich of the week.
Sam Sandwich.
Sam Sandwich. Tell me your feelings.
Sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
That's it.
Tell me your feelings.
God, it's just, you know that New Year's resolution about being a better podcast?
It just got worse.